Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment, another iteration, another fulfillment of the inevitable, an occurrence of the canyon change. The canyon change. The nacho philosophy. If it all sticks together, it's just one nacho. If it all takes place at once, it's just one change. I have too much to cover. Too much to cover, and I can't even remember it all. Another 1 hour paint job. Start to finish, 1 hour. Boom. The more I looked at the stance boat, it's a boat, the more I saw white. So we went pretty hopefully the heat will take some of the little bubbles out. And I just put the basic amount of stickers on it. It's got a Zoku on it because it's a Zoku. Painted it white, black on the inside. But it was maybe 90 minutes all inclusive. Getting everything done, and it just bosh. Right? Looks pretty good. Sits nice and low. It's good. I'm 100% fine with it. It doesn't need to be. This is the mode that I got into. This was the frame of mind I got into, which was they don't all have to be bangers. Sometimes the body's grand purpose is to keep the insides on the insides. So that's what we were going for here. There's every possibility in the world that in the future it will be fitted with a different body. Biddy Design Rock 1, some other tucked format. I think this one came out reasonably okay, but I still think that of all the tucked bodies, I think the stance is kind of the least good-looking one. It's very generic. So we just rolled with the generic. So there's a lot to cover. There's a lot to unpack here. If you'll notice, we get a little drop on this side. We get a little drop. You get a little throttle drops on this side. Before, we were getting lift. It would lift. And the lift felt almost uncontrollable. And there were a lot of suggestions or what I would constitute as guesses. I was guessing myself. I was making portions of the canyon change, doing a little fastener optimization, stuff like that. And I just happened out of the corner of my eye to see it. Let's see if this will focus. Do you see the difference? Yeah, it's pretty visible. See right there? This was where a nut from the driver's side front upper was rubbing viciously on the drive shaft. There's where that leg fling was coming from. Actual physical binding. And I don't really know if there was any way to notice it. So, we belt and suspended the operation as one does. Swapped it out to cut-to-length drive shafts. And then this upper has the nut on the outside and a button head on the inside. So now, you see the clearance right there? Right there. You can see it highlighted right against the white. There's the 6-7 millimeters now. But it was rubbing pretty badly. We took the phenolic gentleman out, sanded him up, painted him. Now it just looks like a part. Like maybe it will offend less people. And if it doesn't, I really well and truly don't care. I got so many suggestions. Oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? The rear axle has a third member that is symmetrical. Holes. It can be flipped, right? So you can just flip it and run a reverse gear in it. Well, I can't because I run an 824 in it because I don't want 50% rear underdrive. I'm pretty happy with 21.5. So I want a solution that basically doesn't exist because you cannot run a reverse gear in this front. You can't. Not only is the third member completely asymmetrical, but the groove, the fat bit that's right in here for where the ring gear is, would run right through where these screw holes that mount. So it's not possible. You cannot run a reverse gear in the front, and in order to run a reverse gear in the rear, you either need to Dremel or flip it, and if you flip it, just take the portal axle off and run a straight axle, because it would put the pinion down below the level of the links. Also, with my, well, the flipper would go if I ran it upside down, so the drive shaft angle wouldn't be as tall. It would be flattened out. That's not why we're here. We're here for rear clearance. So with Vanquish parts, with what I have outfitted on the rig right now, this is how we do it. I don't want to change the gearbox. I want to run a VFD. I don't want to change the axle housings. I could have put, well, I couldn't. You need an offset pumpkin with a VFD. So you can't put an AR-44 on the front, which is flippable. We are where we are. This is a necessary evil. The gender changer has to be there, because it's how we make both axles rotate the right direction. Now, yes, I could have just, all I think I need are the inner shafts, the universals for a portal front, and then I could have switched it to just portals all around. Boring. That's not why we're here. He is what he is because I wanted a mullet, and he was assembled out of bits and bobs and pieces and here's and there's, and we got him to where he is now. So the suspension moves more freely now because we're not binding up where we were binding before. Hopefully that will have corrected that issue. The front knuckles were formerly these, just your Amazon variety basic stuff. They have been replaced with the KYX, which are also Amazon, but are much larger and much heavier. The steer link is in what I would consider a non-optimized position, but it's what we have to do because we don't have enough throw from this servo on a 16 millimeter horn to make it work. So I have to run a 24 horn and I have to go to the bottom. So that link is further out than I would like it. But honestly, aside from little craggy stuff, I don't think it's going to get caught into too much. Optimally, I would like to run a 16 millimeter horn, but I haven't run it in this configuration, so I don't know. We were also geared 48 tooth spur and a 12 tooth pinion. We have left that far behind. That is a 56 tooth spur being driven by a 10 tooth pinion. So external ratio was 4-to-1. External ratio is now 5.6-to-1 because the 1900 just felt a little spicy, as this is effectively a straight axle. It has a portal in the rear, but the front is what is doing the work, and it is a straight axle. So I should have ordered a 1400. It was not my intention to put an outrunner in here at all. I really like it now that it's here because we can do, I think I'm right about there, because we can do this. So I'm absolutely fine with it. Were it a, say, 1400, I would probably be happier with it. But I don't like to go below a 10-tooth pinion, but I'm 100% fine with a 10-tooth pinion. So 1056 is good by me. Look how slow that's moving. I mean, I don't think we can ask for much more. The front links have all been refabricated. You basically cannot run a high clearance link on the front. Like, there was no way I could get it to work because no matter what I would do, this link would hit the drive shaft. And then in a high clearance upper isn't necessary because the high clearance upper would hit the gearbox mount. So now we can absolutely just pancake down. Went to straights all the way around, and honestly, reassembled the front uppers 3 or 4 times because I kept going, what is wrong? Because I do a little thing where we check for true, and we check this thing which comes in 0.5 millimeter increments, and it's very infuriating. And we measure from the side of the chassis rail to the kingpin. And then we measured on the other side. And I did it over and over and over. 30, 35. So the shock was like way kicked over on that angle. It was way angled out. I would remove the links. I would put them on the trusty, never dusty RPM shock duplicator, which for our purposes tends to be one of the most invaluable tools that you can possibly own, because you put one link on this, and when you put the other link on the other side, it will tell you how many millimeters off they are. The bottoms are dead 127 each, perfectly centered. The uppers were 111 each, perfectly laid out, perfectly centered, and it was pushed off to one side. The differential is 1.5 millimeters. This front upper on the passenger side is 111. The front upper on the other side is 109.5. These are the prices of hacking, of the hack. There is no triangulation to the upper links. They are, let me see if I can get that. That upper link is as close to parallel to that rail as you can get it. Because the VFD, in my mind, was never designed to be run 4-link. So this link misses the drive shaft by, well, unless you get your hardware just right, it doesn't miss the drive shaft at all. And again, it's hidden under the wire. It is completely parallel. So the servo is actually well off to one side, but it clears. It doesn't hit anything. But I guess I just never paid close enough attention, and it was because this older 50 kg was running out of throw. So when I would steer this way, this tire would hit the shock. And then when I would steer this way, this tire would be over about there. And I was like, what? So we are very close now. We should be getting full throw. I think we are still running out of throw on this side, a little bit. So running out of the throw a little bit. So probably not his forever servo. We will probably upgrade him to a 60 kg because for whatever reason they have more throw. And then this will be moved to somewhere where they can run a longer horn and be comfortable with it. What else? What else happened? All straight linked front. A little fastener optimization. Had to change all of the, went to a new link here because it was longer. I mean, it should work perfectly well. Getting that front centered was borderline infuriating because I couldn't find it. The links were all the same length. So what I had to do was mount 3 links, and I had just the driver's side disconnected. And then I would twist the front end and look at where the hole lined up. And I was like, oh my God, that is very, very, very close. What it basically looked like was, I do. What it basically looked like, let me find a shock tower. And then we have to beg for focus. So you've got the end. Imagine this is the end. And here's the hole. And if you can see right there, the hole is perfectly lined up. It looked like that. Just the littlest, tiniest, shiny flange. Because we're talking 1.5 millimeters. Because of the no triangulation, 1.5 millimeters pushed the entire front end over 5 millimeters. I had to haphazardly lengthen these two. You can see there's a bunch of exposed thread right there. I had to haphazardly extend those two when the gender changer went in to get this pinion angle less ridiculous. It's actually pretty good fully compressed. And we run most compressed all the time. So in flex, it's not super weird. It's not like the universals are going to clang together. But I made no measurements on these. I just took them and like twisted them out and was like, yeah, that looks pretty good. But because the rear end is quite a lot triangulated, it's not a problem. I also noted that under the little double arch, we're running 9 millimeter, and there's about 5 millimeters of space right there. We could go to a smaller spacer and get even more rear triangulation. But then I thought, what difference? Like, it doesn't matter. Just run the 9s. They're absolutely fine. At some point, we can change to a 6, triangulate them out a little more. But the links aren't anywhere close to hitting each other. Everything is smooth and loosey-goosey now. And I finished this by working on it for the better part of a day. And I have since then been super anxious to drive this because I want to know what happened. The 1.5 millimeters was the real thing for me. It took way longer than it should have to catch it because I am accustomed to when that happens, when you get your front end pushed off to one side, it's usually pan hard, but we don't have 3-link. We don't have chassis mounted steering. So I knew it wasn't pan hard. So I'm like, what is it? Pull the lowers off, same exact length. Pull the uppers off, same exact length. I'm like, what is this? So finally, I'm like, okay, front end's not square. And front end's not square. Had to be pushed over. Had to be pushed over. I don't know. I don't know. It's not the rails. The rails are identical when you line them up. They're the exact same rail. We got there in the end. And now, nothing but heading out to the rocks and seeing how we do. We have definitely not lost any flex. And as a matter of factum, by going to straights in the front, we are now 135 front. And that is not even getting light in the rear tire, and we're at 135. And I believe that is mechanically limited. I think the straight link is hitting the motor mount, front motor mount. And then in the rear, we are at... So now we've got more flex in the front than in the rear. The rear is about 130. And because we're obsessive and we're losing our minds, this side flex is 130. And this side flex is that right? About 135. 135, 135, 130, 130. I don't know. It's a weird and wild thing. I did put it across the scales, but then proceeded to make changes to it after it came off the scales. So I don't know how valuable those numbers are. But you know what we'll do? In the spirit of full disclosure, we'll read them off anyway. 2,789 grams is where it sits right there. Exactly like that. It was powered up on the scales and everything. 1,689 on the front axle, 1,100 on the rear axle. The removal of the binding, the going to the straight links, and I think more importantly, the KYX knuckles have taken us from, I think we were 55.45 in last iteration. I'm scrolling back through the photo album. How far do we have to go back? Yes, we were 55.45, 26.10, and now we are 61.39. What did I say? 27.89. 50-50 cross, 1404, 1385. These numbers look good. The rears are 548.5 and 551.5. 3 grams. The fronts are 852.3 and 836.4. So when I saw it on the scale before, and I want to say this tire had like 80 more grams on it, nothing in my brain said mechanical. Nothing said there's something binding, something is hitting something else. And I don't know. That's tired brain. I don't know what that is. That was overzealousness. We were in too much of a hurry to get out there and get it done. And we paid the price. It drove really well. So, of course, the anticipation is elevated even further because now it should have none of those problems. And we've crossed fingers for that because on the bench and on the numbers, it looks outstanding. Like, this thing will go. It doesn't care what it is. it's gonna climb it. And then we got that mullet breakover action. All right, rocks. Let us go to where they live.
Well, the way I look at it is, if we learn from it, it was not time wasted. So we had some problems. And those problems persisted because we didn't explicitly know what to look for. I was not anticipating drive shaft rubbing. Like, it looked fine when I put it together. It was close, but apparently it was too close. Turning circle looks pretty nice now, I must say. Yep. Break over. That's why we're here, you know? That's a nice cutback. I would also like to state that probably my primary point of pride on this is that not only is the body not carved up, the body is barely trimmed up past factory lines. Yeah. It's our second mullet in the canyon. Clank is a mullet, but Clank is maybe a super perfect kind of mullet because he's dumb. He's super dumb. We put a big old honkin' 2-speed because it has reverse rotation outputs. So he's a mullet, so he's got that 30-ish%. I think he came out around 30-ish% rear underdrive. But in high gear, he goes well into the double digits. So he's proper, and he runs on big 1.9 Proline boggers, so big tall tires, much taller than even these. So this is more of a, at least what I would think, more of a typical mullet build. Let's do the thing. Oh yeah. Having steering evened out feels real good. Yeah, 25 on this guy is slow, but it does allow us to do the one-hander. So we're get a little input there. See if it'll pull up. Yeah, okay. So we just let the system. What will the system do? Okay, needs a little help right there. That was probably tie rod. Get over, get over, get over. Okay, try back the other way. Yeah, 20, oh, yeah, 25 now that it's, I forgot about the whole 1056 thing. So yeah, we've brought that speed down quite a lot. I would always suspect, like my first instinct would be that mullets aren't going to descend well, but they do pretty all right. Okay, we're going to go to 33, 1/3. Yeah, that's about right. Cut it that way, cut back that way. Yeah. That was some really, really low wheel speed on the 25. This is genuinely the worst time of day to record. The glare is so high. A lot of time I can't tell if the field of view of the camera is where I'm actually driving. Terrible entry. There's that rise, but see what it does? It puts it back down. Yes. There and there. Nope. There and there. Yeah. So that at the very least appears to be remedied. I don't know. It still looks like a boat, and I will still say that of all the tucked bodies, it's just kind of white paint notwithstanding. It's the most vanilla of the group. But I will say this: there had to be some thought to the design, because we're running ruptures on a full-length body, not just cab only, and the angry Lexan noises are minimized. Not just running ruptures, running slammed out, a slammed out body sitting on top of the rear shock towers on ruptures. Yeah, if you can get the tie rod over the obstacle, over whatever's in your way, the rear's going to clear it. I had a really bad entry before. Let's loop it around. We'll do this way right here. I want a more conventional entry. I just feel like with a different servo, I could be getting more steer angle, even more. Yeah. It's a very nice. Oh yeah. That's a sound. I didn't like that sound. I love, with this, I love anytime we come with something that's pure breakover right here. Yep. Ooh, get it. Get it. Do I gotta get a little more of that? A little more. I want to cut and then cut back. Yes. Now we begin a near endless pattern of second guessing. What if we ran 824? Instead of 824, what if we ran 827? And instead of 21%, it was 31%. What if we ran an underdrive gear in the front? And instead of 21%, it was 11.5%. Maybe mullets want less overdrive. Maybe they want more. I don't know. Do I feel like there are moments where the rear underdrive is fighting me? Not really. Not really. It is not. It's noticeable because, like, we can probably execute it right here. We've got a pretty tight turning circle. Like, it's pretty tight. And as I said, that for whatever reason, and this is the oldest, if not the oldest, in the top 3 oldest Flash Hobby servos we own. This servo has seen stuff. This was Baseline's day-to-day servo for a year and a half. There's a lot of hours on that servo. I would not be opposed to putting a new servo in there. Google Payday. It's on the docket. He's real fluid. Come across the top here. Like, never feels that angle right there. Boat. Very boat. Very boat. We're not opposed. Definitely does the things. Yeah, every time you think, oh, there's a little drop back, just give it a little steering input, and away it goes. This is pretty solid good. We're feeling pretty good right now. I cannot see the screen on camera 2 at all. I was just guessing. I'm just kind of letting him do it. Even with that, oh, it's sliding a little. Got to give it a little bit. We need a little, oh. Still has a little of that tendency. Now I'm wondering, I don't think, is it the rounded rupture problem, which is tangentially related to the swamper problem, where you get that weakness in the shoulder? It doesn't feel explicitly like it's overloading the rear on that transfer. I came in way too low. Okay, right about there. Now, what's the transfer gonna do? Yeah. It just we got really deep into it, really deep. I think the inserts are so very close. These were the Canyon Customs that were fabled up out of, I think it's aquarium filter media. It's like 18 millimeters thick. So it's just a single wrap of that around Tim Tin Inner. And that's what it's running. It's a rupture insert. So it's a Canyon Soft of a sort. Yeah, like right there, if we were overweighting that low side, I would feel it. And no, it's absolutely fine. No, he feels super good all around. So we had the bind. That is the drive shaft rubbing on driver front upper. And we had the skewed front end. The 5 millimeter front offset, which I do not think was helping. A little wide out there. Come around. Much higher than I would like to be. Very solid though. Yeah, it never feels like the ends want to swap. And you get the right amount of bite, and it feels like you can just spin it around. That's not ordinarily an entry point that a bunch of rigs would voluntarily shoot for. Okay, I'm gonna try to cut in soon cut right here and see if the 21, oh, sticky. Oh yeah. Yeah, oh, he's just falling right through. Oh my. That entry, I might not, oh no, I got it. I was like, I might not have turned the nose back early enough. We're 2 or 3 inches inside the yellow marker. I don't know if anyone has pulled around that corner as tight to stay so tight in on the right-hand marker, and really pretty effortlessly. That little spin would be just about enough for me to say that the insert is very, very close to spot on. Yeah, and that breakover is like, it feels like cheating. Okay, that's a poor entry, but if I can get over that, then we can spin it. Oh my goodness. I don't know how I hit that yellow. I had just looked away. I was like, that amount of positionability in the front end is stupid. We'll just hit 5 a little here. Ordinarily we want to hook there. Okay, a bad entry is just an opportunity. Use that breakover. Now we're going right at that, so we'll back it off a little bit. Yeah, just the ability to reposition there should not be an option. Now, are we going to clear, or are we going to go too far into? Okay, don't steer back. Oh man, that's, for those who know, you know, that was pretty good. Now, yeah, let's not put too much sugar in the coat. F10 straight. in the front, F10 portal in the back, VFD in the middle. Rhino, S12, Outrunner setup, ruptures, 6139. Unsprung has got to be at or above 50%. This guy has a lot of the things. How high do I have to get him to take the ordinary line? No, he just wants to throw it. Just wants to throw it to the sky. His line is, well, okay. If his line is lower, now what if we go real high? Nope. Nope. I feel like I'm just entering the same way every. Yeah, I am. I'm just entering. I'm using the same exact entry line every time. This is the very definition of insanity. Okay, that's better. Tie rod. Get the tie rod over. Stay on that weight. I don't want that to oh, it's already transferred and gone high. Oh wait, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, he goes his own way. But yeah, I don't think we can go that way without a cut. Tiniest amount of cutback. That might just come back down to steer angle. Because once we get that lined up, that takes no effort at all to get through there. So steer angle is something that you can't buy. It is determined by what the axle itself will do. But contrary to what I just said, steering angle in this instance is something we can buy because we're not getting all the way to lock. The front knuckles are not hitting the shock screws, which is like a physical limiter. I'm not noticing any camming of the front drive shafts. They're not surging. So I think we absolutely can buy more steer angle by putting a servo in there with more throw. Two wholly unrelated notes. First of which, Cam 2 has dropped a bar on the battery indicator, which means it's going to die at any moment. And have you ever wanted to physically fight a balance plug? Like it won't stay. I want to fight a balance plug right now. Oh, that's good. Is that bellied up? I think that's the furthest left anyone has gone up that. Yeah, everything tells me, oh, it's not gonna descend as good. No, he's real good. As descenders go, he is up there. Oh, that surface transition was too good. Crabbing across. Yeah, you can just use so much more wheel speed. It's situations where it's a lot of steady state driving here. And more than enough. That's exact. I'm not even kidding. That's exactly where I wanted to set up. We just didn't have to go all the way to the bottom and turn around. Okay, the in tight left, right here. Getting that nose to drop over. Okay, what if I use a little sidewall right here? Little throttle reposition. I don't want that shuttle move. I don't want to rock back right. Just doesn't quite. Yeah, that right there. No, that's easy. That's lemon squeezy. We want it harder on the other side. Yeah, drag brake. Drag brake was very good before. Get on the point right here. Drag brake is full electronic anchor now. Just absolutely planted. This, we're not even in the last 5%. We're in the last 3% or 2% of the tune here. I don't want to throw too much at it until a servo with more throw is in there. I might just dig the fleet, find somebody that's got, is underutilizing, somebody that's running a 16 but has room for a 24. Could just do a little servo swapperoo, see how that shakes out. Also got an RS400 in the bin that somebody could swap that out, and then they don't even have to take the 50. We've definitely got options, and this thing's proper good, as far as I'm concerned. 100% does the things. I don't know what's the most difficult on we've got. Is it over here against the block, right here? Usually the line we use for descent. Get up across. I need to get over that wall right there. Break it over, come back. Yeah, he is a master of handling chop. That is a big vert right there. Oh, camera 1 has lost a battery segment. So we will initiate Midwest goodbye now. Thank you so much for joining us here in the canyon, in the Lizard Kingdom, immediately adjacent to the construction zone. It wouldn't be complete unless we had properly rolled it at least once, so we had to get that out of the way. I'll do all of the normal things, paramount of which is doing your very best to have a good one, everybody. We'll see you next time here from the canyon. It is absolutely delightful sitting here in the shade, out down by Mount Tumbledore. Out in the sun, it's kind of miserable, but over here, construction sounds aside, it's pretty nice. We do indeed well and truly wish you were here. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. And we wish we could drive out a frame, but our own skills or lack thereof have left us where we are. So we will bid you a fond adieu here from the canyon. And we'll see you next time, everybody.